Hi, I'm Dina Stewart.
And I'm Stuart Stewart.
And we're here for syndicatednews.net, live on South Beach.
A show with a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Stuart and I are sitting here at the Cafe at Books and Books on Lincoln Road, and it's hot. It's August. It's always hot in Miami in August, and this year there's no exception. So, along with that, it's the dog days of summer, and not all that much is happening in Miami.
I looked up the definition of a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
And this gentleman is a doctor, a pharmacist, he's a writer, he's been known as the fight doctor because he's been a doctor to many of the world's champions. He's also the winner of 2 Emmys for fight analysis, and he did that for 25 years.
I just got into the Hall of Fame of boxing.
And he's a member of the Hall of Fame of Boxing as a result of that.
Yep. Except you left out one thing. The main thing that I do, and the thing I do best, is paint.
Well, I'm just getting to that.
Okay.
In addition to, this is a long introduction, and I don't do this for everybody.
You know, when people come and say, "Listen, you're going to introduce me, and you're going to introduce me fully," it's an embarrassment. It's a long, long way to go because I had a very long life.
I know, and you've got absolutely nothing to be embarrassed about. You've written 7 books?
20.
20 books, okay, 20 books. And what do you do with your spare time? I know you have a family.
No, that's a very good question that I would ask if I was interviewing me. You did what? What did you do today? Well, I started painting a picture. Then after my nap, I came back and I painted the other half of a short story that I dreamt about last night. And then I wait and I sat down and I'm talking to you. And now tonight I'm going to watch 2 football games.
Well,
that's what I do with my football.
I've got some questions to ask.
You know, I'm glad you're asking these questions that I always want to tell people. It's not hard to understand if you just follow your interest.
Mm-hmm.
You're interested in football. Good. There's a great football game tonight. The University of Miami's playing, and the Dolphins are playing. Those are 2 great things. So I'm very interested in that. So that eats up my evening. That's the way it is. It is that I wake up every day, and I look in the paper, and I have something that I'm looking forward to every day.
I read in one of your bios that at age 14, you decided you wanted to become a doctor.
Way before age 14.
Okay, what event happened in your life that made you go and decide that?
Well,
was it anything
that's
specific?
a good question, but you started with an error. When I was born, people put a football in the crib. My father put a stethoscope in my crib. I swear to God, put a stethoscope in my crib. This kid's going to be a doctor. And as you have to understand, I was very observant when I was little. And I observed this. The guy that came into my house that got absolute total worship was the doctor.
Uh-huh.
If you get called for a house call and the doctor and you open the door as a doctor, everybody in the house would turn on and be bowing and scraping and giving him a tray with soap and things. I mean, they treated him like a god.
Would you share your age with us?
Sure, I'm 83.
And I know you're not ready for retirement, so what's in the future?
I write and I paint until I die. That's what I do. I cannot keep from painting. I love painting. I can't keep from painting. And I write a short story, at least 1 a week. I've had over 200 short stories now.
I believe that life happens the way it's supposed to.
Exactly. Exactly. I just think that that things happen the way they happen. I mean, I don't know why. I don't do it on purpose, but everything works out. When you look at my life as I'm writing it now, all of these things that I did, I actually did because other things fell through and I just kind of fell in. And then, therefore, I'm a Renaissance man. You know, I did what I had to do.
So what did you think of our 2.5-hour session with Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, who likes to just be called Ferdy?
I thought he was a fascinating man, extremely talented in every area. I mean, he really is a Renaissance man. He has done so much, and he's so well known in so many different arenas, especially as the fight doctor. Working with Muhammad Ali and other champion fighters. He's crusty, that much I have to say.
What I enjoyed about him is I did a lot of research. I created a lot of questions that I thought would lead into interesting conversation. And every time I was about to ask a question, he says, "That's good." And then he went on, asked his own question, and answered it. It was like, wow, you know, like he's been on both sides as an interviewer as well as an interviewee, and he just knows the whole drill. All I had to do was sit back, show up, and follow my gut.
And let him talk.
And Ferdy, thank you for a very entertaining afternoon. You know, after we left the Grove, we took a little ride over the Calle Ocho to just see what was going on, and even there the streets were empty. Parking spaces were right in front of wherever you wanted to go. And I bumped into an old friend of mine, Corinna, and she's doing some very interesting things in Little Havana, and I'll let her talk for herself. Standing next to me is this statuesque woman, Corinna Mabius, and she says it may be yes, it may be yes, it may be no. How do you pronounce your last name?
Maybe you, maybe I. Maybe yes.
Maybe. You never know. Anyway, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do here in Little Havana?
Okay, well, I live here in Little Havana. I love this neighborhood very much. And I do tours of Little Havana. I do a Little Havana food tour with Miami Culinary Tours. I partner with Miami Culinary Tours. It is, I think, the best and only food tour of Little Havana right now, and we sample food at the local restaurants, but you also learn about the culture and the history of the neighborhood. In addition, I do other tours of walking tours of Little Havana, and I'm also working on a guide to Little Havana called littlehavanaguide.com.
It's a good name.
Yes, easy to remember, and working hard on finishing the guide, but it'll be free, it's online, and we'll have all kinds of information about music and food and shopping and art and theater. This neighborhood is very, very rich with arts and culture.
And what's the address that people can go to online?
littlehavanaguide.com.
As usual, whenever we go off the beach, we have this really strong impulse and desire to return to the beach. Somehow it's our comfort zone. And so after a rainy evening elsewhere, we came back to the beach and there were no surprises, because there are always surprises when we come to Lincoln Road.
Hear now this, oh foolish people. The Bible call our people foolish, man. Because guess what? They think that there's something else. They think that they're Gentiles and not Israelites. Read on. And without understanding, which have eyes and see not. Our people got eyes, but they see not. They don't see the conditions that they're living in. They don't see that they're the last one to get hired and the first one to get fired. They don't see that they're living in the ghettos and the slum. Why they're living in there? They got eyes to see, but they see not, man. Read on. Which have ears and hear not. They got ears to hear, but they hear not. We tell them that they got to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. We tell them that they're the Israelites, and they hear not, and they see not. Go ahead.
Well, this brings us to the end of another episode of Alive on South Beach. I hope you enjoyed it. And I want to take a moment just to thank the audience. We've only been on a short time, but the response has been really overwhelming. And it sort of helped us go in the direction we're going, where we promise that our next episode will be something very different than this episode, but it will contain a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And a little aside to that man in Nice that sent an email.
Who remembered me?
Who remembered taking our picture 30 some odd years ago. We were in Nice at that time, and that could be us. So if you send us a JPEG, I would love to see it, and that would be an amazing connection. So we're looking forward to it, and until our next episode, have a great week. This is Stuart Stewart.
And Dina Stewart.
See you next time.